chance? Been maybe an hour or so. Has it sunk in? You're on the world team.
Not really. I feel like just still getting a few things done that we gotta get done. And, it hasn't sunk in yet. I don't know. It's a little bit surreal. Yeah.
What was that moment like after you won? Your hand was raised. It was over, and you're running around. There's a crowd. There's people. Your team's down there. Just describe that moment.
Man, it just felt like the accumulation of something that's been coming for a long time. You know, it's a little bit undescribable. I feel like I've really leaned on my support system really hard these past few years, and I feel like I've brought in people in my life that I really trust, and I feel like I give my all to whatever I can off the mat, and it was just really nice to see all those people show up today, and I just felt like I had that backing behind me the whole time. Like there's no option but to get the job done. Like look around, right? These people believe we can get the job done.
Thinking back, maybe the craziest 2 out of 3 series I can recall ever seeing just in wrestling. Let's go to match 1. Clock hits 0. You're up 3-2. They throw the brick. What are your thoughts in that moment?
I mean, I thought I won, right? I think the tough part to swallow about that match, after seeing it is just, I kind of, knew the part that Jordan was challenging. Nothing was on purpose, and just my question, I just didn't understand how 17, almost 20 seconds after the match is over, how you can challenge something and not put time back on the clock. So, but I just thought when I was a young kid, it was always a joke. I was Murphy's Law. When things go wrong, they go wrong. Like they're gonna go wrong, and I just feel like everything I do all day long, every day, has prepared me for things that are gonna go wrong. So I was a little heated. I was a little angry, but I had to take a step back and realize I still have an opportunity here.
Is that more in that moment? Is what I've been thinking about since watching you win match 2 and 3. I'm thinking, how do you think you beat this guy? Now you know the task in front of you is so difficult. How are you able to talk yourself back into that?
I said it earlier. I think something that stuck with me that Jordan said last year was, about how people that wrestle in match 3, don't really know how to readjust after a win against him. And I'm like, I've done it before. I do know how to readjust, and I'm gonna do it again. And I took that one to heart last year, because I feel I don't want to be just anybody, and I felt like we did a pretty good job of just being in the moment, kind of realizing it's just wrestling, and that's a big part of kind of what happened today. It's just wrestling. Like if I go out there and I've done everything up to this point, and that's just something that Kendall and Reese just constantly reaffirmed me. They're like, dude, you can literally do nothing all week long. You've put in the miles, the road work, just over and over and over again. It's not going to change how you're going to wrestle today. You're going to do it.
One thing that stuck out from a wrestling standpoint was your ability to get to his leg, particularly that left-sided attack. Did you have a strong feeling that was going to be there for you?
To be honest, the plan was to get to the other leg today a little bit more.
Really?
So, actually, my coach kept telling me, prior in the week, probably not to take that side attack. So, when the body takes over and the mind's not wrestling, good things usually happen. When the wrestling starts flying, I think I've been in so many different positions my whole life that I think good things happen. And I think the other thing is I just kind of wrestled 1 second longer in most positions than I usually do. Even on bottom where I try to get a reversal today, I felt like I was wrestling 1 second longer in positions.
The thinking about the end of match 2, you're seconds away, 10 seconds away when he drops in on that single. How were you able to clear that position? Because it looked like he might get 2, but 1 looked like almost imminent. And you're able to do this hip and you square up. How are you able to avoid that?
I think it's just something that's like, again, I'm in a lot of wrestling positions as much as maybe I don't show it in my matches. In most of my matches, when I'm in the room, I feel like I'm an artist in most positions. And I feel like any of my coaches who actually coach me and around me, my teammates and any of my club kids, I think they know that. Like people who actually know me and see me, besides when I'm competing, know that. I normally have a few tricks up my sleeve, like throughout, most positions. And again, I think the body was, taking over. I wasn't thinking about like, oh, just don't give up a push out. I was just wrestle through it. Like don't just not give up a push out. Wrestle through it. And again, when you wrestle 1 second longer and wrestle through the positions and let the positions develop, like good things happen.
And then the third match, that sequence, the 4, you seemed confident right away. Were you as confident as you seemed in the moment that those were your points?
I was pretty confident only because like I had this, thought in my mind. I was just like, I stopped the shot. I pulled it up myself. And all like in that moment, all I could think about was when Nolf did it to Imar in I think 2018. I want to say in match 2. Imar was winning most of the match, and Nolf hits at the very last second, and they gave him 4. That was literally going through my head that very second, and I was like, well, time to send it.
And now, how in that position, he's driving on a double leg. When did you start to think that was optimal, or was it just the last ditch? Let me plant my feet and see what I can do.
I think a big thing we worked on was a lot of edge work. Leading the match with Jordan, I think he's a master at letting me over pursue him, and then turning me out on the edge and winning the edge. So just in general, I was trying not to let many things go to the edge. But as we got to the edge, I felt by the way I've wrestled most of those 3 matches, it allowed me to have more confidence on the edge and just wrestle just a tad bit differently than I did last year on the edge. I think just by being able to execute that part of the plan a little bit and the short time left in the match, it is a little bit of a do or die situation there at the end. But I think by being able to work a lot of that edge work and not really let the match get to that much, I was able to stop at a decent amount before we got to the edge, and because of that work.
How long have you been thinking about Jordan Burroughs? I mean, obviously you wrestled last year at Final X, but you're someone who's fanatical about the sport, and you probably always thought he was going to be in your way at the international stage at some time. How surreal is it to wrestle him?
Like you said, it's somebody that's in your way, and that was the approach we took this weekend. Was it's not like go wrestle Jordan, or blow this match up and go wrestle Jordan. Like he's in my way of me trying to win a world title, and that was the mindset approach. That was my mindset approach most of the time. And when our coaches were talking, Kenny Monday, I guess, called Kendall and is like, "Listen, this is how it needs to be. This approach." I'm like, well, "Yeah, that's how it was for me, Kendall." But I think that also changed my coaches' minds too. This week, no, it's not just about beating him. It's I'm trying to win a world title and he's in my way. So, and it's been constantly on my mind since last year. I feel like he knew I was on his tail. I feel like he knew I was coming, and I feel like every little thing he did over this past year was to either get to know me better, to figure me out more, or to just wean me off a little bit. From I mean, it's his choice, but not getting a match with the World Cup, making wait both days, just making it difficult. Just the things he says about he wasn't able to score, he's not able to score on me. Well, that's something I changed, and just I find it a little bit disrespectful when he's like, I want 79 because it's easier. Well, it's not. Um, so I do find it disrespectful, and so it's on my mind, and I feel though that it's on my mind because most of the time, obviously because I won it, but I feel like that was just his way of like constantly trying to. He plays the mind battle all year long, and maybe people say, nah, that's not true, but I felt it. That's how I perceive things.
Yeah. Do you think you were able to channel that energy, something that was helpful for you? It seems like a motivating factor more than anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think again, like I looked at it as like the fact that you have to do this, or you have to talk yourself into this, or say these things. Again, I felt like it was to me. I felt like I was on his tail. Like so, like he, I felt like he felt the need to say that type of stuff, or do those type of things, just so that to try to keep me down a little bit. But that's how I took it. That's how I took it as my motivation. Maybe he didn't, and I don't, no disrespect to him. But that's how I perceived it.
How surreal is it knowing there's another step and your ultimate goal is not to make the team but to win a world title, but surreal is it given everything you've been through to now kind of stand on top of the podium for Team USA? Was there a period of time where you thought, man, maybe this won't be possible for me?
Man, I don't know. There's definitely when I was going through it, and I remember 3 years ago sitting in rehab and just like I asked myself as I went in, like, is this still doable? Yeah, it's something I definitely played with. Like, is this still doable? And just each day I went by in there, I was able, and the more I was able to look at myself in the face, like in the mirror, I told myself, yeah. And I remember sitting there, like in rehab, like envisioning, like I would shake hands in the bathroom in the morning and get my hand raised, and like envision JB or Dake or Taylor, those guys, like, and just say just. And I would pray to God every day, just like, please let me try again. So yeah, dude, I definitely question myself. As you're coming up and like you start to attain getting some of it back, but go to the 21 trials and lose a tight one to JB, drop down to Strachey, so I don't even place the 21 trials. It's just like it wasn't even like me asking myself like, do I believe in myself anymore? I could just see the people around me are like, dude, you close to done, like hang it up, and I think one of the things that fired me up though was I'll never forget, like when I got out of rehab, I got a call from Kolat, basically like asking me to stop wrestling, like just telling me that wrestling's destructive to my life, and that's probably time for me. And that was actually like a moment where like I think I fully like flipped the switch and was like, that's not true. I've been destructive to myself, not wrestling.
Do you think that was a motivational tactic from Cary?
I'm not sure. I truly think it might have been heartfelt.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Maybe it was, because I ended up going, training down there for about a year after that. So I'm not sure, but it definitely it put a fire in my gut. I started to take my time and do things right before I really, really, dove back in but it definitely ignited something inside me.
Going through an addiction like you did, just getting on the other side of that and just being, a functional person is a triumph. And now, what is it about you that you're not just able to do that, but to reach this height? What is it about? What is inside you, Chance, that enabled you to do that?
I think a few things. I mean, I think I care. Like I I truly believe my whole life. On the mat itself, I work countless hours, just harder I feel like than anybody else. Just try to be smarter than anybody else on the mat, and it's just always the addiction getting in the way of how I wrestled. So I do think it was something I've had for a long time, and just it's been hidden. It was covered up. But I do think that my love for the sport, I'm absolutely obsessed over wrestling. And again, all my friends call me the encyclopedia and stuff. When it comes to wrestling, and I think just that absolute obsession with goals I set when I was 10 years old. When I said I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist when I was 10 years old, I think it's something I've always lived on. And then the last thing is just, I've said it a few times, is I don't know many people, I don't know anybody really who was, if I'm being very specific, was addicted to oxy and fentanyl and heroin and went on to go make a world team. I feel like there has to be somebody over this long sport that has done something like that and has been able to come back and triumph. But I don't know anybody. And I just feel my message will help somebody that I didn't know was out there. So, I think if somebody would have carried that message to me, and shared their story with me, of when I was going through, maybe I would have stopped sooner. Maybe not. I don't know. I had to figure that part out. But I hope that it spreads a message that it's, I want to be a light for somebody else. I want to be an aura of light for somebody else that can just either change somebody else's life or can carry them down the road they're already on. So I feel like I was on the right road, and I was off. And that's one thing I tell my club kids all the time is I want to help you be as good as I am, if not better. I want you to be better than me, but I want you to do it with the least amount of roadblocks. So this is the way. I'm be very open and transparent about it, so you don't suffer the way I did. And I think that's the thing that carries me more than anything is that. And I don't want to see my sons and my wife suffer. I just from my addiction, I watched them suffer for a long time from all the things I did. So them, my love for wrestling, and then just wanting to help other people.
How proud are you of yourself right now, for what you've been able to do and where you are right now?
I'm pretty proud. I want to say, the job's not done, and I don't want to settle, but that's something I used to always say when I was young. Like, I win a state title, I'm like, it wasn't my goal, and I want to win an Olympic gold, And so that's one thing I've tried to do as I've gotten older is I want to smile, enjoy it, and then get back to work. So but I'm more proud of where my entire team support system and all the things we're doing between my wife, my kids, Alvernia University, Princeton, Columbia, my club, the things when I do well, I watch everybody else grow around me usually, and that's the effect again I hope I have. When I don't do well, I don't see that. So what I just hope I'm proud because of all those dudes in the stands that came to watch me, and I hope it jumpstarts something that they need inside them.
I mean, we watched you compete at the U.S. Open, and then you were coaching the very next day. Seems like it almost feels like you do just as much coaching as you do wrestling yourself. Have you, or maybe more? I don't know. You're laughing, but have you noticed it helping your wrestling? Do you think about wrestling in a different way?
Yeah, I do. Again, I made a post about it the one day. I don't expect my athletes to ever do anything I wouldn't do. So it makes me do a ton so that I can say whatever I want. and they have to believe me because it's true, right? And it's factual, and they see it. And so that alone drives me, like having, having them up my butt, like ready, well, would you do it? Yeah, I'm doing it right here, right now with you. Like, most of the time I don't just run club practice. Like, I wrestle my guys almost every day, when we have clubs. Um, so it definitely helps a ton, but it runs me ragged a good bit. I was hurting pretty good after the open and coaching the next 2 days. But, that's the one good thing I have, though. I have, a great support system. I have guys running club right now while I was able to take the week and come here and train, my wife and kids. They didn't get to see me all week because I was up here staying at Kendall's and training. And so it's nice to be able to have that kind of system and network where I can give 100, though I don't have 100 to give you guys this week. Someone else can. Well, and they allow me to focus on me a little bit, so which was nice.
Really appreciate your time. It's really inspiring to watch you do what you just did. Yeah, couldn't be happier for you. So enjoy the night, and can't wait to see what you do in Serbia.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, James.